Okay.
you.
I'll resume from point number 7, the of lack of access to real-time data. As I was previously saying, हमारे पास we have few number of monitors, and because of few number of monitors or lack of access of data, हमें extent of नौयत का ही नहीं पता कि what is the problem that we are facing. हमें पता है कि it's affecting us, but कितनी नौयत में we don't know exactly. The 8th one was of regulation of industry that are major polluters, especially in the power sector, कि उनको हम बताएं कि what how much आप कितना करें ना, यानी उनकी एक जो है ना जो आउटकम है जितना वो पोल्यूट करें उनकी रेगुलेशन के हाउ मच दे कैन पोल्यूट एंड अंडर व्हिच लिमिट्स. द 9th one वाज ऑफ द इफेक्ट्स ऑफ हेल्थ एंड ऑन द इकोनॉमी. जब ये धुआं आ रहा है, एग्जॉस्ट आ रहा है, ऑल ऑफ दिस पोल्यूटेंट्स कम, इसका हमारी सेहत पे कितना असर पड़े और हमारी सेहत से जो हम बीमार हो रहे हैं उससे हमारी प्रोडक्टिविटी और आउटपुट पे कितना इफेक्ट हो रहा है. द लास्ट वन वाज ऑफ सेग्रीगेटेड वेस्ट डिस्पोजल. पेपर, प्लास्टिक वेस्ट, कंपोजिट, उसका फर्क नहीं है हमारे पास, हम बस या जला देते हैं या ओपन डंप फेंक देते हैं. दीज आर द चैलेंजेस दैट वी आर फेसिंग. सो द नेक्स्ट इशू is of how what is the path forward, what we can basically do. The first one was highlighted by Miss Atya, was a happy harvesting technique. What you can do with that is you distribute the crop from the stubble. आपके पास एक टेक्निक एक मशीन है जिसके जरिए अलग कर सकते हैं. आप बर्न नहीं कर सकते, आप इसको कहीं और जगह यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं. द सेकंड वाज ऑफ जिगजैग टेक्नोलॉजी. ब्रिक किल्स में इस्तेमाल होती है जिससे आपकी जो ईंटों की भट्टी है उसका धुआं कम हो रहा है. द थर्ड वन वाज इशुएंस ऑफ हेल्थ कार्ड सर्टिफिकेट्स टू कार्स, और प्रॉपरली इन्फोर्स हो ताकि जो हमारे पास गाड़ियां जो बहुत ज्यादा पोल्यूट कर रही हैं, दे आर वेरी ओल्ड, उनको हम फेज आउट कर पाए. द फोर्थ वाज ऑफ मोर एयर क्वालिटी मॉनिटर्स so that we can see what is the air quality in Pakistan. The first is industries take ownership and share their emission data with regulators. All the major polluters, as we shared earlier, उनको मैंडेट करें विद रेगुलेशन एंड लेजिस्लेशन के अपना जो उनका इमिशन का जो डाटा निकल रहा है वो शेयर करें रेगुलेटर्स के साथ ताकि उनको अंदाज हो. सिक्स्थ वन इज more sense of individual and collective responsibility कि this is the problem that we are facing. Millions of Pakistanis are dying and we need to do something about it. हम अपने emission खुद करें as a individual और as collectively industry, private, public sector में. The seventh one is imposing a carbon tax. हमने जो बात की थी रेगुलेशन करने की इंडस्ट्रीज के ऊपर, उनके पास एक लिमिट दे दें. दिस इज द लिमिट ऑफ कार्बन दैट यू कैन इमिट. इफ यू गो अबव दैट देयर इज अ टैक्स ऑन इट, देयर इज अ टैक्स ऑन यू. एंड उसको ना इस तरह करें कि पीपल अच्छे ग्रीन की तरफ जाए. लास्ट पॉइंट्स
Excellent,
empower local municipalities. Thank you so much, sir. That's all.
excellent, Hassan. To be honest, it looks like you have you have stolen my presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Hassan. Very nice. Who would like to present from KP? All right, Khokhar. So let me give you the rights. G, you may start, please.
Okay. The presentation might not seem as well developed as Hassan did, but what we have tried to do here is first we have tried to identify the air quality issues. So we have identified two major air quality issues in KP after discussion in the group. First one is the dust.
Sorry for interruption, Mr. Khokhar. You don't need to explain because
sure. So what we have done is two major issues like everywhere else. The first one is dust, and the underlying reasons associated with those with this dust pollution issue is deforestation, then crushing and mining operations going on here and there, and then increased construction, obviously related to the overpopulation issue, and then roadside dust. These are the few underlying reasons of dust pollution. And then one other major issue is smoke, and the reasons associated with smoke identified by a group are automobile emission, obviously, then increased industrial states, and which is growing day by day, and they are not following any regulations at most. And then the brick kilns, they are also one of the major issues in KP as well. And then like the whole Pakistan, we also have the issue of solid waste burning resulting in particulate matter or whatever. But these are the two major issues. And then the proposed solutions, one of the best thing we could do all over Pakistan is effective town planning. First of all, to control the uncontrolled or unplanned construction and then associated dust emission and smoke emission, and reforestation. Like we are going on the path through Billion Tree project, but we need to do reforestation and as much as possible on individual level and on government level or whatever level possible. Third one is mulching. This is the process where we try to control the soil erosion and soil loss. This could lead to the control of dust pollution and maybe a little bit of smoke as well. Then green belts on the roadways. To control solid waste burning, or we need to have landfills. Obviously, it is just a proposition. And then finally, about the brick kilns, one of the proposed solutions, and which is already happening, is zigzag technology to control the emissions, or to at least bring down the particulate matter, black carbon in the emissions coming out of the kilns. So that is what we came up with in this short time. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. It was excellent.
Shukriya.
Thank you, Iftihar. That was excellent.
Possible amount of time, you did a good job. So who will present from Balochistan and Sindh group? Ji, any volunteer from Balochistan and Sindh? Wa alaikum assalam. That was Ji, Miss Seema.
So we are supposed to reply only once.
Oh yes, that. Ji, Miss Seema, you're with us? Then we'll come back to this. So who will present from ICT? ICT and
yes, this is Jami. I'm sorry, because of bandwidth problem, I'll have to do it without the video camera. And all of us were either traveling or doing something, so there is no formal presentation, but we can always send you a slide later on. So we had ICT and Gilgit-Baltistan. So I'll be very brief. I'll start with Gilgit-Baltistan, and contrary to our perception that it is heaven on earth, but what is happening there is that because of rampant sale and purchase of non-custom paid vehicles, which are very cheap. So, and as we all know that it's a mountainous area and there are a lot of valleys there, a lot of cities which are situated in valleys. So we all know as an expert that usually air pollution and this particulate matter, it starts gathering in cities and towns which are located within valleys. So there is a large issue of this urban air quality degradation because this very large number of vehicles concentrated in pockets in smaller urban areas. So when you have high density of vehicles, you can well imagine what is happening. And unlike in the past, now one can see a lot of smog early in the morning in Gilgit, Skardu, and other urban areas, which is hazardous for health. Another issue is that because of lack of proper fuel sources, during winters, people are forced to use fuel wood and a lot of other hazardous materials in closed spaces, in rooms and houses with smaller windows to keep away the snow and cold air. So this gives rise to asthma and other diseases within the occupants of these areas. And this is all because fuel-efficient cooking technologies are not prevalent. Electricity and gas are hardly available. And I've myself witnessed, if you go in December to Hunza, other places, a lot of problems there that you don't have fuel, and it's a major issue there. So that is another issue which is happening. And and then there are a lot of, and this is a natural phenomena, maybe we cannot do anything about it, that there are a lot of windstorms and a lot of desert areas there. They have cold deserts also. So, but obviously that's a natural phenomena. It's usually difficult to cater, but for non-custom paid vehicles and this lack of fuel efficient cooking technologies, I think there can be a lot of solutions and which need to be provided to people. And here I must say that when we keep on recommending these large things that people have old cars, they should be buying new cars. I mean, this is not possible. If you want to improve societal health and everything, credit lines should be established. We should buy back these things and provide. Can you tell somebody that please sell your Alto, which is 20 years old, and buy a SUV or something else? I mean, nobody has that sort of money. You provide credit lines on cheaper interest rates to buy back these old technologies and help people install newer technology, even industry, give them tax rebates. I mean, this is basically boils down to financial models which you present. Scientific models
Excuse me,
are
Mr.
very,
Jami. Just
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Can you please go
Yeah,
on the list? I mean, actually don't want to discuss because we're running.
No, but we have to discuss solutions, sir. If I tell you that there are a lot of problems in Pakistan, well, everybody knows that. There will be no need to have any discussion. We have to present solutions. Let me come back to Islamabad now. I've done Gilgit-Baltistan. In Islamabad, major issue is that extremely well-planned city, but zoning regulations are being violated. People are dumping waste and everything. Large contractors are also dumping in open plots, in open streams. So this is a violation of law, which can be easily addressed. Otherwise, well-planned city. And there are some industrial areas which are not adopting anti-pollution technologies. They need to be, I'm against, I mean, we are against prosecution all the time. We're in favor of providing scientific solutions backed with institutional and financial arrangements. Otherwise, people will not adopt new practices. Regulatory mechanisms don't work in a country like Pakistan. You can pay an inspector and get away with everything. So I'll stop here.
Thank you, Jami sir. That was very interesting point, perspective about air pollution challenges. So do we left Ali with any other group?
We are left with Sindh and Balochistan. Anyone would like to present, please? From Sindh and Balochistan.
Anybody, any volunteer from that?
Any volunteer? We would like to have that feedback, please. Anybody? We understand that time बहुत कम था और you might have not prepared a formal presentation. Any points that you have discussed that would still work for us? मैं यहाँ से and Seema, I think there is some confusion. Ms. Seema would do it, but she has some connectivity issues. Is it possible, Ms. Hira, for you to do it?
Actually, she has penned down all the points.
उनके connectivity पे कोई issue है?
जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
जी, वालेकुम सलाम। जी, please आप continue करें। अच्छा, she has sent the slides in the WhatsApp group too. Okay, let me share the slides.
हेलो, मेरी आवाज आ रही है? अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
अभी आवाज आ रही है आपकी, जी बिल्कुल। What I'm going to do is share the presentation, and Ms. Hira, if you can present, please. I think Ms. Seema has some connectivity issues.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. So myself, Engineer Hira Mehboob, and I am going to talk on the behalf of Sindh and Quetta. So first point was put forward by the Rabia side. She, according to her, that the power, Quetta is not an agricultural or industrial city. We have no power plants, nothing is here. Quetta is a valley and pollution stays at the troposphere. Like it's just like a ball, so it just entraps there. So this is an issue, the first point raised by Rabia Said, and there are no industries and nothing is there, but still we have this issue. So what are the major solutions for that? But the main problem that she mentioned was that transport, as the vehicles are outdated and no one is there to monitor them. And then the next point is we can move to electric trains and like metro buses and everything, but the funds are very low. And second point she put forth was that we are on the front line, fault line, so we have the issues of earthquakes, so we can't build such kind of things there. Okay, Miss Rabia wants to do this meeting. She's mentioning.
Ji.
Okay, if she wants to do. Yeah, sure, Rabia, you can.
No, please, you continue, please.
Okay, sure. So next point was put forward by me, and my point was that many conferences and meetings are being held regarding the environment crisis and all the problems. But what I believe is, according to our area, our people needs you can say consultation and awareness about it. We just meetings are not enough, so there is a lack of awareness in masses, so general people don't know about the risks and risks. So what I proposed was the environmental forces should be in our academics, so that teachers should know about it. They should guide the students about it, and the local masses should also be told about it. We should educate them. Next slide, please. And one more solution was there, that the segregated dustbin should be there, in which the students are being taught in the schools that how to put plastic and pages in the separate ones, and when they will go home they will definitely guide their parents about that, and like this we will aware them. The third point was given by Shazia. She said that migration from the interior side, that we have a lot of migration is there. So due to migration, hygiene conditions are not appropriate. Toilets are not available. And even if there are toilets, then there is not a proper sewage system. Next slide, please. And then from Farman from Karachi, he said that we remain in a awareness phase only. But like this is a time where we have to impose things, but still we are in the awareness phase. So who is monitoring? There is very less monitoring. So he said that we should have a strong monitoring system and strong legislation to monitor the monitoring agency. But unfortunately, the application of the laws and everything in Pakistan, we are still lagging behind. Next point. Next slide, please.
Very nice.
I think it's over. Okay, so Miss Seema from Karachi, she said that due to overpopulation is the main cause of that. Literacy rate is on the count, and then the civic facilities are destroyed. Industrial waste like air, water, noise, solid, all are adding up to it. So no one care, and no one care. Even our own city, we don't care, and we are throwing the things out. Even the educated ones. So, and the transport system and the vehicles are outdated. No one is there. Again, the funding issue is there. So again, she mentioned that strict monitoring and legislative system should be introduced to overcome all these problems. Thanks from my side.
Thank you for that. Thank you for on the spot, Mr. Thank you so much. Dr. Fahim, over to you now, please.
Thank you, Ali, and I would appreciate the effort put by all the group members. It was excellent, and I personally feel that my purpose was met. If you analyze the things, all regions have actually several unique problems, and they do have also the common problem as well. For instance, if I would say the vehicular emission was common everywhere. Okay, we know that in Pakistan we didn't have updated or a good vehicular fleet and with proper maintenance. And then if we talk about the lack of legislation, that was common all around the country. And if you talk about the lack of monitoring, the biggest challenge actually, that is all around the country, which is very common and rightly pointed out by all of you guys. And if now we go to very specific to the regions, specific, then it was like in Sindh, it was mainly the industrial waste and lack of solid waste management. Well, solid waste management was also common across the regions. Industrial waste and was that actually the problem in Sindh. And then in Balochistan, they have mentioned something about the topography. That was very unique. I guess this is the similar problem with the city of Peshawar as well, to a certain extent. And migration, immigrants from the interior parts of Balochistan, they're having some issues regarding this. And when we come back to GB region, yes, the vehicles, non-custom vehicles that have actually increased the flux of vehicular fleet, and they're not properly maintained as well. And when we talk about Islamabad, so solid waste management was the unique problem here, probably, and lack of regulation implementation, which is common for everywhere. And when we talk about the KP, yes, the common problem I have already mentioned. So the zigzag and break-ins issues were actually common with the Punjab, but the rest of the country didn't mention this. But the dust pollution they have mentioned very uniquely, and this could be lack of because of deforestation and some other mining activity and the crushing activity, stone crushing activities over there. But the common problems they have mentioned about break-ins, poor vehicular maintenance, and all these things. So excellent job done by all the regions. And coming back to the Punjab, the list goes on. It seems like Punjab has very much list of issues. Well, most of them I have already mentioned, they are very common, but the small issue that is primarily faced by the Punjab region, then break-ins, lack of public transport, vehicular fitness issues, solid waste burning, lack of monitoring, and data access that was rightly pointed out. And I guess this is the problem that is always across the country. I mean, everywhere that is there, this is kind of, I used to call this no data sharing syndrome. This is very common in our Pakistani community. So we're very reluctant to share the information and all this. And regulation of industrial fluids, emissions, and then effects of health and the waste management is the common. So I would must appreciate a big round of applause for all of you guys. You did an excellent job. Really, I appreciate it.
Very nice.
So you made my job easier. So I was going to explain all of things. So I will skip this because you are well aware of things. But the important message for you guys is that you really pointed out what we are facing. Thanks to social media as well and all these things. But what we need to do is take home message for you guys is that make it as a bigger voice, make it as in a harmonized way. So you can do propagate this information, your awareness level to all the social media and all other platforms which are actually, I mean, the regulatory parties are actually part of that. Even this time, the new government has these citizen portals. You can actually list down these issues over there. So make a unique voice, a collective voice, and the cry of the masses. Then it is going to take some, have some impact on our legislative and regulatory parties. And they have to think twice while devising this policy and strategy to development plans to curb these emissions and all these things. So you need to make this voice in a louder way. So yes, I guess I will give you 100 out of 100. That was the purpose. We meant this activity that we want to see how. So actually, you see, you might have observed that the different region and different lenses, they have different perspective about the common air pollution challenge. So yes, Ali, what's the plan now?
Sir, basically, I'm going to stop the recording for this session. Today, our session 1 complete.